today, I'm here to discuss about the effective forms of punishment under the behavioral views of learning. So first, let's talk about what is learning. Learning is a relatively change in our thoughts, feelings, or behaviors that results from experiences. So when a person learns or acquires new knowledge, he/she may undergo some misbehaviors inside the classroom. So I'll introduce to you the forms of ineffective punishment that students faces inside the classroom. There are careful and appropriate punishment that is based on the guidelines suggested by research that can be an effective tool for controlling students' serious misbehavior. On the other hand, punishment that is vindictive, malicious, and out of proportion to the seriousness of the offense can only teach the students not to perform the undesirable behavior in front of the person who applied the punishment. The first form of ineffective punishment is the physical punishment. So did you know that over 220,000 children over 2006 and 2007 school year were subjected to physical punishment in the United States? And due to its negative effects, physical punishment is considered illegal in many countries. The negative effects of corporal punishment have been shown by research in the area of socio-cognitive theories of learning. Specifically, research on modeling and aggression indicates that students who are subject to corporal punishment are more likely to demonstrate similar behaviors in the future than those who are not. Other side effects of corporal punishment is that students learn sophisticated ways to avoid getting caught, become defiant, display strong negative emotions, and lastly, avoidance toward their teachers. The second form of an effective punishment is a psychological punishment. This may consist of embarrassing and humiliating the student and generally leads to the same negative effects with corporal punishment. Similarly, yelling and screaming are not the only effective reducing undesirable behaviors, but have the added negative effect presenting students with the out of control to handle stress. The third form of an effective punishment is the extra classwork. This includes asking students to perform an extra classwork, which is highly discouraged because students learn from classical conditioning to associate with the negative feelings with classroom activities. And the last one is the out-of-school suspension. Out-of-school suspension may be appealing to the teachers, but it is not effective in changing students. It is likely that students with low motivation and chronic behavioral problems intentionally misbehave to skip school, and thus removing them from school reduces even their further chances for academic success. Out of those ineffective forms of punishment, we have a systematic approach to applying operant conditioning principles to modify a student behavior, which is the applied behavioral analysis. The first phase in this analysis is the pre-modification phase, which requires observing and reflecting on students' behavior before applying specific consequences to modify the behavior. Part of this reflective activity is trying to identify the antecedents that trigger the target behavior. So antecedents are the conditions that trigger the target behavior. So for example, you may notice that a student has a tendency to move away from his seat when he is assigned to work in a collaborative activities, but when he is participating in whole class activities. In this case, you may successfully identify that collaborative activities are an antecedent of the undesirable behavior. Many misbehaviors are triggered when teachers require students to engage in tasks that are too difficult or unpleasant. In our example, the student may not feel comfortable with some of his peer members or may not believe that he can learn from group activities. So a goal of pre-modification activity is to gain a better understanding of why the antecedents may be producing the undesirable behaviors. At the pre-modification phase, teachers should not only document antecedents but also baseline data regarding how often the target behavior happens. So once antecedents have been identified and the baseline data has been documented, teachers can create a concrete action plan. So by the end of the pre-modification phase, teachers should have identified the following relationship, which is the antecedents, the target behavior, and the consequences. The second phase is the modification phase. During the modification phase, the action plan is implemented and special care needs to be taken to document how the student responds to the action plan's consequences. The last step in the modification phase consists of comparing the baseline data and the data collected during the modification phase to establish the effectiveness of the plan. If the intervention is successful, there should be an abrupt change in students' behavior. The last phase is the post-modification phase. If the student's behavior does not change significantly after the intervention, a re-evaluation of the action plan and appropriate changes to the plan need to be made during the post-modification phase. Once these changes take place, teachers should again engage in the same steps taken during the modification phase by documenting any changes in the behavior and evaluating the effectiveness of the new plan. And this process may continue until a solution is found. Teachers should consult with a school psychologist when they feel that they have exhausted or no strategies seem to work. Applied behavior analysis is based on the assumptions that behavior problems are the result of past and present environmental conditions and that modifying these conditions will promote more productive responses. Applied behavior analysis can lead to significant improvements in academic performance and classroom behaviors and is also a very common method used with students with exemptionality. Thank you, and I hope you understand it.